Got it. So there are other players also in the same space. Okay. Are you in direct competition to other property portals like Magic Breaks, 99 Acres, Common Floor? Could you help us understand how maybe you are different, or are you just the same but a bigger market share or something of that sort?
Right. We are competing with them, but in silos, like I mentioned earlier, in the entire consumer journey, the search and discovery effectively is the first step where discovery of the information. That's effectively where property portals play. Whether it is Magic Breaks, 99 Acres, Housing in India, whether it is Property Guru in Singapore, Zillow in US, REA in Australia, but they only play that part of the journey. So once that discovery journey is over, the consumer experience gets disintermediated to various other platforms who are working in tandem with these search and discovery platforms. What we believed very early on is search and discovery is barely 5% of the value chain of the consumer experience. And to be able to build a substantial, long-scale intermediary ecosystem, you need to be able to do much more than that.
Got it. So what is, so if search and discovery is only 5, did you say 5%?
5%, less than 5% rather.
So where is the majority value coming from in
the majority of the value gets created in multiple ecosystems around the transaction. How the consumer buys, sells, rents the houses, how the mortgage works around the housing ecosystem, before the consumer moves into the house, how does the home renovation comes into the play. So all these sub buckets of the journey effectively make for more than 90% of the value.
Okay, could you dumb down on how transaction, because transaction is always an offline play, isn't it? So how do you capture transactions with the help of the platform?
I believe the industry for very, very long has been constrained and burdened by digital, offline, hybrid. The words which in isolation probably don't mean much. The fact of the matter is what the search and discovery is doing. Search and discovery effectively giving a consumer some sort of information to be able to transact better. The goal is to transact. The goal is not to discover the property. Discover is a subset towards that information. And just a small example. So we believe the value chain is a hybrid value chain, where part of the value chains are digital, where data plays a critical role, information symmetry plays a critical role, discovery plays a critical role. But because it's a heterogeneous asset class, unlike most of the other asset classes which are homogeneous, what I mean when I say homogeneous, heterogeneous, let's take an example of auto. It is one of the very high value asset classes which hasn't moved fully digital. But if you want to buy an Audi A3, it will be the same Audi wherever you buy from. But every house is different, every view is different, every floor is different. So that's why, because it being a heterogeneous asset class, it being a very, very expensive asset class, it's more than 50% of the wallet of any average consumer. There is an offline component. There is a component where a consumer would want to see the site. There is a component where consumer would want to check the veracity of the surroundings, the access, and everything. Although a lot of that is also getting digitized as we speak. But we believe for a long period of time, it will remain a hybrid class where you will have to solve for both to be able to be an effective player. And not just in India, effectively, everyone globally wants to move to transactions, wants to move to build a hybrid marketplace. Zillow and REA are very good examples in US and Australia. Let's take an example of Zillow. Zillow is probably $2.5-3 billion revenue, gold standard in property marketplaces globally. It is less than 2% of the overall intermediary revenue pie in US. And that's effectively Zillow realizes, and Zillow wants to go after that, and Zillow has been trying to go after that over the last couple of years. So we believe search and discovery platforms are not search and discovery platforms. Solo does search and discovery platforms by choice. They would want to be full stack transactional platforms. It's a difficult journey to build a full stack transaction platform.